everyone, and welcome. I'm Jen Luther, the EGO Tamer, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the program called Plugging Into Your Financial Prosperity. Now, spoiler alert, the whole premise of this program is that everything we need is around us, that there is plenty for all. Any of you who are students of the law of attraction or follow the scripture that talks about giving and receiving and reaping and sowing know that what we put out is what we get back. And so my purpose with this program was to clear my own blocks, first of all, but also to help my students and my clients start to find what was blocking them from the prosperity. And so what I discovered was, first of all, we have to have a mental image of it being there. A lot of us had been taught foolish things like money doesn't, right? What does that even mean, right? And so we start challenging some of those beliefs and those foolish things that have been said to us and start getting in touch with what our inner wisdom, our authentic self, knows to be true, which is money does grow on trees because trees are paper and money is made of paper, right? And once we can reframe that a little bit, we can laugh at the funny things that our ego says to us. The first thing that I have learned to address is our idea about money and spirituality. When I first started teaching this, I called it Money Matters, because I realized that for most of the people I was working with, we are spiritual based. And there was a conflict of interest between doing something I love and serving the world and getting compensated well for it. I call it the missionary mentality. That I should give it all away until I'm so broke that I can't help anybody, let alone myself. So I put this first in the program as we talk about the spiritual beliefs of it's either love or money, or God doesn't want me to be wealthy, or it's bad for me to have money, wherever that might come from in your reality. We challenge all those rules. The second class is I call Show Me the Money. And one of the things I've discovered having taught this so many times is that we all have money shame. And many times we'll come to the story where, especially as children, someone asked me to do something for them, perhaps it was a neighbor, and they said, I'll give you $1 or $5 or whatever for doing it. And we were so excited to earn some money. And we went and did this thing, and then our parents said, don't ask for money for that. You should just do it because you're nice. And something happened. Is this resonating with anybody? I see a couple of them, right? You're not supposed to receive money for something, a service that you've offered. And so there are a lot of shames that come up around money. I had one student actually tell me that they would rather stand naked in front of the class than tell them what their financial status was, than talk about a bankruptcy or a mistake he's made with money or the time that some shyster came along and, right? It really taught me that we have a lot of experiences in our life that make a conflict between what our spirit knows is ours and that is rightfully ours and what our ego would have us believe. That's a fun class. The next one is comfort zones. And of course, as I go through these, there are a lot of Ego Tamer tapping formulas that I teach. And the thing I love about formulas, as you've already seen, is it's like a framework that you can take your challenge, whatever it is, and plug it into the process and go through it, and go through it, and go through it. And it actually provides you with a template to uncover and clear your limiting beliefs. That's what all of these are. Comfort zones has one of those, and I call it GOSH. And I talk about what I believe about what God thinks I should and shouldn't have, what others think I should and should not have, and generally it's somebody specific when I'm talking about others, my mother, my father, my spouse, my children, my boss, what others think I deserve. And then of course it's self. What are my rules about money and prosperity, what I'm worth and deserve? And then it's humans. Have you ever heard of they say? It's so funny to me when we start doing this particular class, the things that we didn't even realize had anchored in us that have that kind of superficial thought of they say. They say you should not, especially about money and our prosperity. That is a lot of fun. Then I teach 7 steps to getting what you really want. I've broken it down into law of attraction, and there's 2 secrets. I'm going to do another spoiler alert for you. If you've ever seen The Secret, read the book, saw the movie, whatever, there's a secret they don't tell you. And the secret is they only give you the middle piece. You need a piece of bread on each end. It's more than just sitting and meditating on. It's more than just affirming that you're going to have. The first step is finding out what's blocking in the first place. What are the false beliefs? Then you start affirming, and then you have to take some action. I've never, and in fact even on the movie, I've never known one of those people on the movie that did that movie to sit at home and go, money's just going to show up on my doorstep. They are some of the busiest people on the planet. And they will be the first to tell you that they worked hard, and they worked busy, and they were productive, loving every minute of it because they were in alignment with their purpose and their passion. But they didn't just sit at home and hang out a shingle and say, here it comes. Okay? We talk a lot about that. Then we go into what remains. And as we go through the course, I'm gathering information from each of my students. I'm looking at stories they may not have been aware of, things that maybe we didn't get a chance to tap on, okay, because it didn't fit into one of those topics. And sometimes this is a culminating event. One of my students, this was so profound for me, we were doing the tapping, and I kept getting this feeling that I needed to keep coming back to this particular student. There was something out of alignment. And so I started asking him questions about, well, tell me, what is your belief about this? Are you thinking this can't work? Are you believing, what is your should? Right? This was before I had the simple ETT formula. And we discovered that he had a belief that when you do an affirmation, when you do tapping, that you should only be in the positive for the rest of your life. That you should never have negatives coming up. So of course he was sunk at the get-go because he forgot he's still in a human body. He still has the ego mind. And once we were able to help him see that my objective with tapping is not to live in the positive forever, but to know that I have the power to get to neutral. Because it's in the neutral that I can change what's happening. Ego always has me stuck negative. If we can take that first step, the second step happens automatically. Because then we start affirming and building on what we do want. That was a profound shift for him. So the What Remains class can be a lot of fun. And then, of course, that last class is questions and answers, and it's whatever has come up for you, whatever you've discovered. The wonderful thing about these programs is not only do I offer a lot of added benefits and bonuses, I always over-deliver. I hope you all feel that even at the end of today, is I always give and give and give because I really want you to have value, and I want you to have success with what we're teaching. But in this particular class, what we do is we look at in this particular series, one of the things that I do is I'm offering an exercise after every single class that will help you find out how you feel about money. One of my favorites is the $1,000 a day exercise. And I'll give it to you right here for free. What we do is we sit down and go, okay, if I get $1,000 today, what am I going to do with it? And the first day, it's easy. Gone, right? The second day, you get $2,000. Still pretty easy for most of us. 3,000, 4, 6, you're doubling. 2, 4, you get the idea as you double every day. You double that $1,000. By 30 days, almost every single student tells me, I'm trying to figure out what to do with all this money now. Because we've gotten ourselves into such a habit of thinking of what we lack, that we don't ever really take the time to sit and think about what would I do with an overabundance, with opulence, with wealth. And amazing things have happened. People have gotten into that energy of course, God, universe, I can use this. Of course, I can find a way to spend that money. I started putting flowers by everybody's bed, right? I started donating to charities. I'm finding things to do with that money. And an amazing thing starts happening is this feeling that ego has about holding on to it just disappears.